You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another episode of Devilman Updates. Today I'm doing something a little bit differently in that I'm looking directly at the Gonagai Wiki to show you the information as I go over it. So as you can see, with the topic of today's video, we're going to be talking about the different story arcs of Violent Jack. So first off, we'll start off with the chapters. As you can see, the person has outlined them all as chapters, even though each arc does comprise multiple chapters. And I'm just going to jump right into what this guy says all of the stuff is. As far as I could tell, with all of the stuff I have read so far, he's pretty accurate, so I'm going to take his word on it, but we'll see as I continue. And the order is also possibly a little bit different than I remember from when I read it. But then again, like I said, these chapters are very episodic, so that being out of order isn't really that big of a deal. So here we have Chapter 1, the Slums of Kanto arc. Ryo Takuma and his army of 300 orphans fight off the shitty Yakuza rejects and the Dragon Horsemen. Oh yeah, Jack was there too. As you can see, the person who writes this is very informal with the way he writes, so this is just a very brief summary, and this guy, he's not very professional with the way he words it, but that kind of gives it an additional charm. Chapter 2, Hell's Wind. In a place like Hopetown, a biker gang as infamous as the Hell's Wind arrives at their doors and harass/kill/rape the townsfolk. Up until a woman of vengeance shows up, sort of like the bride from Kill Bill, starts to seek her revenge, which saves the town, but she ends up captured. Then Jack shows up to do his typical shit, as expected. Chapter 3, Mondo's Fierce Battle. Fangs of God have been known to be ruthless terrorists. However, everyone but Mondo and Tatsu-ma died when their hideout was had been exposed. The surviving two were later founded, then arrested in their heavy extreme acts later, months after the Hellquake. The two escaped death row prison and reached Kanto in hopes of making it big. Jack deems them not worthy to stay in Kanto, but Mondo doesn't care and comes crawling back. Chapter 4, The Dragon Fortress. Jack finds a child that was being assaulted, which he saves her from harm, and carries the girl until he reaches a house that belonged to a couple. He leaves the girl with them, which later found out that the girl was from a rival gang that opposes the Slum King. With that information, the Slum King would pay heavy in reward if they sell the girl. Furthermore, Jack stays in the house until something arrives in the distance. Chapter 5, El Dorado. El Retardo. Don't know why I put that there, but Mondo and Tatsu-ma return with another Double Dragon reference. Wouldn't really call it a Double Dragon reference. I don't think Double Dragon had come out yet, because, I mean, I get he's probably being sarcastic, but Double Dragon, I think, came out in the 80s, and this was written in, like, 1974. Goes to join Cross/Tsubasa Nishikiori. Is that the name of that chick from Shin Mazinger? Pretty sure that is. Then fucking Ryo Takuma makes a comeback to help set a gold brick heist offered by Jack. Later, Mondo finds Jack, then challenges him to a bazooka duel, which later the Slum King comes by with the improved dragon cavalries to kick Jack's gorilla ass. Chapter 6, Evil Town/Kanto Helltown. Now, there is a reason they put both, because in the actual manga, it's referred to as the Helltowns of Kanto, but it's typically referred to Evil Town because that's what it was referred to, at least in the title of the second OVA. Even when there's a whole wasteland around Kanto after the Hellquake, where survivors tried the best to survive, there were actually some survivors stuck underground. Ones that were stuck under the fissure, which lies the underground mall that the inhabitants call Evil Town/Helltown. Jack is somehow stuck underground for a couple of months after the ending of Chapter 5. You see, I actually didn't know that this was the case. I thought that Evil Town took place before the beginning of everything else, even though it came on much later, because this part here, where is it? We'll get to it in a minute. There's another chapter that this guy mentions later that was actually the beginning of the story when I read it, which, again, I think could just be them reordering it on the manga reader, I don't know. Chapter 7, Dragon Something. Jack fights and kills a lot of people, and June, the biker from the Hell's Wind arc, I presume, gets shot up, but is healed by Jack's magic. Jack also fights a symbolic dragon. That sounds pretty cool. I actually haven't read this chapter yet, so can't wait till I get to that when I start reading the actual manga again. Because, as I've mentioned in a couple other videos, I do have the actual manga on the way in the mail. Anyway, Chapter 8, Jack helps Gari Yowadanashi. The na is a guess, as I can't find my Japanese-English thing, and I'm translating from memory. I don't know who this one, but Jack helps, we'll just call him Gari to make this easier to read. Jack helps Gari fight Evil Sumo. Fucking Evil Sumo. That's gonna be pretty cool. I can't wait to read that. Chapter 9. Jack appears as a sexy woman and saves the two guys from before at the restaurant pub. And as a hunky guy, he kills a guy with a skull mask by healing his damage that let him regenerate. Healing his damage that let him regenerate? What the fuck does that mean? I guess I'll try to figure that out when I get to it. Chapter 10. Okay, this is the one I was talking about before. Chapter 10. Not a ripped-off Jungle Book story, but it involves these characters, and these are the characters from Evil Town. So that's why I thought that Evil Town took place before the story, because where I started, this chapter here was the first chapter. So again, they could just be out of order. Chapter 11, Hyper Grappler Arc. Hyper Grappler Arc with Fire Venus, Iron Muscle, and the two guys from before. By the two guys from before, I don't know if he means Mondo and his friend, or if he means people from Evil Town, or someone introduced in this chapter. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember that many characters from here other than these ones. Specifically, I remember the models from Evil Town being in this arc, but I don't know. Maybe he's referring to those models, and maybe he's referring to Mondo and his friend. I don't know. Chapter 12. Kurgan Knows Something, which is basically Mazinger Z in Violence Jack's times, with the hero robot as a black guy and Aphrodina and Diana as female bodybuilders, with the weird-looking villain Ashura and the Dr. Hell lookalike getting his heart ripped out and then shown to him before he dies. Alrighty then. That sounds really fucking cool. I can't wait to read Mazinger Z stuff in Violence Jack. I did talk about this briefly in the previous update with Jim Mazinger, but that sounds really cool. Chapter 13. Miki Makimura gets unholy things done to her by a dog. What is this, Gantz? If you guys have seen Gantz, you know what I'm talking about. A demon child rips itself out of its mother for birth. Splatter C-section. That's graphic. And is imprisoned in armor and seduced by a curvy nude woman who is violated by a man. She uses the demon child Slum King to kill her rapist, but realizes how fucked up Slum King kills her because she deems him a monster. Jack kills a lot of people and gets easily killed by the Slum King, but it may not have been real. Okay. Chapter 14. Sets up the Post-Devilman universe. Opens with a peaceful community of survivors made up of ex-high school students living in the ruins of Tokyo. All's well until they exile one of their former teachers for attempted rape. He falls down a conveniently placed portal to hell, where he is possessed by a demon. The new Beastman rapist... Sorry, it's too funny. The new Beastman rapist wastes little time in assembling a gang of thugs to commit Nagai-esque rape. Yeah, that's definitely a very well-known trope in Go Nagai. But yeah, if you're familiar with Go Nagai, you know exactly what this guy is talking about. Anyway, and pillage. Eventually, he lays siege to the kids' hamlet and basically owns them. Until Jack falls out of the sky in a fucking meteor? What? Jack literally runs straight from his impact crater. Jack literally runs straight from his impact crater to the bad guy's camp to get some stabbing done. As an added bonus, the Beast Rapist's army had met up with an all-female army of what appeared to be former Rockettes and were in the midst of an orgy. What the fuck? So much of the battle is between a 9-foot-tall psychopath with a Bowie knife and a gang of naked people. Jack triumphs against the demon with the help of some douche. Jack triumphs against the demon with the help of some douche who also transformed into a demon but kept his human heart. Yada yada, demon gets stabbed. And that was just from looking at the pictures. This arc is based on Horenchi Gakuen. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Well, there you go. There's some more referencing stuff there. Chapter 15. Jack as a kid helps some punk kids in a wasteland school, as female Jack gets unholy things done to her by a man she later kills, and Man Jack later teams up with the other two Jacks to fight Slum King, but it's a draw. But the punk girl cleans up her act after a nude scene and goes back to school in the wasteland and puts on underpants. Chapter 16. Jack is captured after falling into a spike pit and blinded in Kraken's camp. Which one's Kraken again? Naojiro? Fucking Naojiro is Kraken? Hold on a minute, hold on. In one arc, the Abashiri family cast shows up and Naojiro is Kraken who runs a slave camp. Fucking badass Naojiro? Hell yeah! Fucking love Naojiro. Anyway, sorry about that. Where was I? Oh yeah, so Jack is captured after falling into a spike pit and is blinded in Kraken's camp. Meanwhile, a cross-dressing lesbian has a flashback of how the man who became Kraken helped her and her dark lesbian past. Even a Yuri scene. Oh, that's very Go-Nagai right there. Jack gets renewed like in Violence Jack Harem Bomber and kills everyone with the camp slaves getting a happy ending, except Kraken, who died of the damage. Why does Naojiro die every time he has a fucking cameo? Have you noticed that? Anyway, Jack is seen in Tidy Whities. Chapter 17, Iron Kaiser. There we go, there's a Shootin' Doji character. I mean, again, this came before Shootin' Doji, but still. Iron Kaiser kills people while looking for her son. Now, Iron Kaiser is actually a woman in Violence Jack who actually was a mother, and she's, like, tracking down her son, like this says. Anyway, Iron Kaiser kills people while looking for her son, Yu, and dies in battle with the Slum King. Chapter 18. Some wasteland boys find a hot girl, and Ryo Tacoma returns as a hot teen or adult. Oh yeah, and the boys are of Ryo Takuma's group, and Bunta has a ponytail. Huh. I didn't know you ever got to see Bunta grow up. There you go. Chapter 19. Honey Asuka goes to Japan to find her sexy brother Ryo Asuka. Now, Ryo Asuka we should all be familiar with. Honey Asuka is basically Cutie Honey, but she's also Ryo's sister in this story. Anyway, and it shows the story of Ryo falling in love with Miki Makimura and getting captured by the Slum King. And the other Honey girls getting into Ryo, and Honey bombs the Slum King's fortress, and Jack beating up the king. Chapter 20. As you can see, this is a fucking long story. Like, this is a... You gotta remember, Violence Jack was like 31 volumes in the original run. It's like, it got cut down to 18 in later ones because they combined several of them, but when people say Devilman Lady is the longest Devilman story, they're obviously not including this, because Violence Jack is fucking long. Anyway, Chapter 20. Saburo Tenma returns buffer with a ponytail and kills some samurai, but Keiko gets captured, and he goes to save her. They both get shot up, and Jack merges with Saburo for long enough for him to kill everyone and mourn his sexy sensei. Chapter 21. Zuba Bond is shown with his black buddy. What the fuck? Zuba Bond is shown with his black buddy Grong killing people, and his past as an evil child is shown. An evil version of one of the two guys from before does XXX things to a woman, and giant battles break out. Zuba hates the Slum King for his burning sexy mom, on a cross, and teams up with the Slum Queen to stop the Slum King. Jack faces King, results in another draw. Chapter 22. Slum Queen's backstory is shown with her sexy kung fu boyfriend and her having visions of her future, and getting a snake through her groin and out her mouth. Didn't Mel Brooks say that in A History of the World Part 1? Mel Brooks, they have put a snake up your ass. They put a live snake up your ass. Jack cuts off her clothes after her boyfriend faces the king, and she joins the king for some reason. Chapter 23. Zuba Bond sends a super team of freaks with powers and appearances similar to Devilman demons, and Jack ices most of them after getting messed up by their powers for a bit. A town gets nuked by a volcano that may have been done by Jack. Chapter 24. The two guys from before come back, and the one who did unholy things to a woman comes after them. After some reality confusion, there is a showdown between the two girly ones and a new one. One shot 20-something-year-old looking. Jack lends a hand to fix the confusion. I'll tell you what causes confusion. What the fuck does one shot 20-something-year-old mean? Anyway, Chapter 25. A guy who looks like Tatsu-ma with half of his face burned claims that his name is Mito, and claims to be Tatsuma's brother. Mito had kidnapped and one of the honeys, I assume that "and" is a typo. Mito had kidnapped one of the honeys and used her as a sex slave. Mito confronts Tatsu-ma and they have a showdown. Jack interferes and tries to force Mito and Tatsu-ma to fuse, revealing that Mito and Tatsu-ma are actually two halves of the real Tatsuma Mito. Is that name familiar? Is that another character in a Go-Nagai thing? If you guys know, let me know in the comments, because that sounds really familiar. However, Tatsuma refuses to merge and runs away with Mondo. Tatsuma is confronted by the ghosts of El Dorado, who try to force Tatsuma to remember Mondo's battle with Jack. Mondo is confronted by the real Mondo. There was a fake Mondo? Did somebody just turn over 2 pages at once, or am I just being stupid? Anyway, Mondo is confronted by the real Mondo, who reveals that Tatsuma's Mondo is a copy. Okay, yeah, that explains it right there. God damn it. Anyway, is a copy created through Tatsu-ma's denial of his death, and the two Mondos merge. Tatsu-ma realizes that the real Mondo is not his Mondo and fights the real one. As he is about to lose, Tatsu-ma accepts that Mondo is dead in order to destroy the fake Mondo's body, and leaves the real Mondo's ghost without a body to inhabit, and leaves Tatsu-ma. Forced to accept Mondo's death, the two Tatsu-mas finally merge and confront Jack for killing Mondo. As Tatsu-ma is dying, he dreams that he and Mondo are about to enter Kanto, but convinces Mondo that he will go anywhere but Kanto. Okay, we're getting close. Chapter 26, June something. A new member in Zuba's army is sent to look after the buff, bootylicious babe who is in knight armor. They fall in love and escape as a battle breaks out with many explosions. Chapter 27, Fire of Majin something. The cast of Dorado and Bazooka, that's Demon Prince Enma, shows up and fight/bone the three avatars of Violence Jack. What the fuck? Chapter 28, Something Honey Something. Honey Asuka and her homies, as well as Ryo Takuma and Jack, have an epic final battle attack on the Slum King's castle. Slum Queen's boyfriend comes back and bites it. The honeys bite it, Ryo and Miki bite it, and then the Slum King finally bites it for now. Oh, well, that tells me right there that Miki fucking dies again. Anyway, Chapter 29, Mao something. The Slum King and Zuba merge by a revived Ryo and return to their true forms. The Jacks merge into Devilman for the final battle, then exposition for the last bit. Alright, well, even though that was loaded with spoilers, I still don't know exactly how it ends. But I do know that Miki does not get a happy ending in this timeline. Hopefully she gets one in Devilman Saga, but we'll have to wait until that's finished to find out. Anyway, this has been Fugitive Red Eye. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this video, and have a great rest of the day.